This is episode 5 of For the Culture. I'm glad y'all tuned in. Today we're gonna have a very powerful guest, very inspirational brother that I met. I met this year sometime, and I just want you to know he's like his energy and his motivation and inspiration, despite what he's been through, is just inspirational to anybody he comes across. You know, he is a still fairly young brother, but he's been involved with a lot of different situations. The brother's name is John Bunn. I don't know if you've heard about him or heard anything from him, but he was falsely accused of a crime of, I believe it was homicide. And he spent 17 years in prison for a crime he didn't commit. When he was released, they found out that he wasn't guilty. He was then exonerated, and he's living his life. He's living his life now free. You see this picture right here? This is him in the courtroom crying after they took his life from him. The system, I don't know if I speak about it all the time. I try to let y'all understand what I've been through. I was falsely accused, ended up doing 7 years in prison out of a 7 to 14-year sentence. And I know how that 7 years felt for me. So just think about 17 years in a prison cell, let alone for something that you didn't do. So this man is pretty much a hero to all, and we're going to be speaking with him in a minute. Also, we're going to be speaking with another one of my brothers who is going to be like a special invited guest, another brother who's like my mother's son, actually, literally, my brother Chi Ali. I don't know if y'all remember Chi Ali. He was one of the native tonguers. He was down with Black Sheep. He was down with Queen Latifah discovered him, and he was pretty much the first child hip hop rapper. Before it was Criss Cross, before it was any of them, there was Chi Ali, and unfortunately he had to go to prison for a homicide in which he served, I believe, 12 years in prison. And he was released about 5 years ago and been trying to put the pieces back to his life ever since then. So, this is going to be a very, very compelling episode in which you're going to hear some real life accounts of what goes on in prison and the wrongs in prison and how we have to put our lives back together after. So, with no further ado, I would like to introduce to you and bring to you my brother, John Bunn.
What's up, big bro? How you doing?
What's going on with you, King? How you?
I'm hanging in there. How you doing, big bro?
Listen, man, it's a blessing to see you, man. But like I just finished saying, man, you are so inspirational and motivational, man. Despite what you've been through, what you had to endure, you still have such a positive outlook, man. I remember when I first met you, you had a smile. Your energy is always positive, man, and that's something that's commendable throughout what you've been through, man. So I just want to first congratulate you and say that you're motivational to me, because I thought my situation was bad. When I think about spending 7 years in prison for a crime you didn't commit, then I think about how much time you spent in there, and then come home, and then get exonerated, and to give us a little background of your story for the people who don't know.
First and foremost, I want to thank you for having me, man, and it's vice versa. Like, you're a motivation to me. We've been through similar situations. Like, I know your story, and it's like we've been through similar situations, even though you haven't got, your exoneration. But I know that you was innocent in your situation. We spoke about this before, and you went through some of the same turmoils I went through as a younger brother. I spent a little more time in prison, but we got a lot of things in common. And you doing it, you've been a big motivation to me. You know what I'm saying? You've been doing the work a lot longer. You've been out here, you've been active, and you've been putting your life on the line for the people, and that's big because you don't got a lot of brothers doing that, and you doing it in an element where you're not selling your soul in the process. Like you very gifted, you gifted by God with what you could do with the talent of music. You could take it in any direction that you choose to, and you choose to take it in a direction where you staying in the lane where you trying to elevate the minds of the youth and still stand for something that's relevant and meaningful, and not taking your talent and as doing something else just to sell out for no dollar, man. That shit, that's real big, bro. So I appreciate you. You know what I mean? And you're a motivation to me and many others. You know what I'm saying? And due to the fact that you got a voice that you able to tell it, in the form that you do with the music, man, that's big because the rap is big to the youth right now. You know what I'm saying? And y'all bridge the gap, to the youth. Like y'all can make them understand it a certain way where they don't want to hear nobody that's coming preaching to them, but the music is relevant, and you got other rappers out here promoting medication. You know what I'm saying? Just to make a dollar and shit like that. Where you know and it's a lot of peer pressure for what you do for you to stay in your lane and do it and stay at the top of it. You know what I mean? Like you standing above the cream of the crop. You know what I'm saying? You just did that freestyle you just did was crazy. The one you did last year, hands down, like you really set the bar. Like whoever don't want to admit it, you know what I mean? They ain't being real. Like when I first heard it, my man from down in Atlanta hit me up and was like, "Yo, man, you heard Mysonne joint?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Yo, man, it gave me the chills." So that's some real stuff, man. And it gave me the chills too. You know what I mean? So whoever ain't keeping it a buck, man, you don't got to even address that because it's already like set in stone what it is.
Well, I appreciate that, beloved. I really appreciate that, and I'm glad that we're like minds, man. We connected immediately because it's that same lion energy and that same authentic energy that we both have, and I guess that's why we do what we do, and that's why we are what we are. So I definitely appreciate that, man. But but today is about you.
No doubt, no
And
doubt, no doubt.
I just want you to pretty much give us, a synopsis of what happened with you.
Well, there's no way to kind of make it short, so I'm just gonna go directly into it. In 1991, August 14th, a gang of police, led by Louis Scarcella, they rushed into my mother's house when I was just 14 years old. While I was having breakfast with me, my mother and my little sister that was just 4 at the time. Um, they ran into my home. They told my mother that they was accusing me of a robbery. That I was involved in some type of robbery or something. They they grabbed me up by my home, man, and they took me out. They put me in a police car, drove me around the neighborhood before they actually got me to the precinct. And by the time they got me out of my mother's jurisdiction, they start immediately questioning me about homicide or murder and things like that. Something I never knew about. You know, they drove me around for like close to like a half an hour until they got me to the precinct. When they got me to the precinct, they started to question me about a homicide. They wasn't saying no more about me being involved with no robbery or no fight like the stuff they was telling my mother. They start asking me did I have information about a homicide, and they had cuffed me to a pole and asked me questions for numerous hours. Information that they wanted me to give them that I didn't have and things like that. It wound up for me being in the precinct for like unaccounted amounts of hours. They put me in a lineup with like grown men, and they wound up they wound up coming in the room, and he told me, he said, today's your lucky day, you got picked. And ever since that day, my life changed from that day. You know, Me and my co-defendant, that was at 17 at the time, we both went through this process. We was both young. Our families was going through poverty. Our mothers were single mothers. Um, we was both like illiterate. We both had problems with like reading and stuff like that. So the process was like coming at us full fledged, and we ain't really know what was going on. We know that we being accused with something that we didn't know nothing about. We went through a process where we actually was going back and forth to court for like 16 months. He sat on Rikers Island and the Brooklyn house where I was set in Spofford Detention Center. While I was there, you know, we sat there going back and forth to court. We had a lot of problems because, you know, we was accused of having killed an off-duty correctional officer and attempting to kill another off-duty correctional, actually two of them. So it was a murder and an attempted murder. So we had a lot of problems with the officers and the staff where we was being held at while we was going back and forth to court. So we was just going through the process thinking like, let's just get through this process, and as long as we was innocent, we was going to be all right. You know, we was naive to law. We didn't know, we didn't even understand what real world was being at that time. We went through the process. We wound up sitting there for 16 months, and it's like the court, it was a 1 day situation, man. We picked our trial and everything, got convicted in 1 day. Like, it's unheard of in the law books. Like, it's not the case that you can actually see like mines where it had this type of magnitude of severity, and you trial and convict two young black boys in 1 day and come up with a conviction. The judge actually at the time told the jury that if they didn't come with a decision, it was right before the Thanksgiving holiday, that I guess they was gonna be held in chambers through the holiday. And I guess, I don't know if that put the pressure on them to make a decision, but it was a whole fixed fight. I found out the attorney that was representing me, I found out that he was later on sick. I found out that the DA had a ill record, and the judge was also like got all type of stuff going on in her situation. So it's like I went into a fixed fight. You know what I'm saying? Me and my co-defendant went into a fixed fight, and we both was naive to law at the time. That date came for trial, and it came, and it was like one of the, you know, like that day, it came and went so fast. Like when I left, when we finally got convicted that day, when I left the courtroom, it's like everything was dark around me, and the shit ain't really even sink in that what was really going on. It's like I was emotionless. I couldn't even cry because I was still in shock. And you know, since then, that day, you know, we've been fighting for our life. It's just like, you know, we've been pushing it for our innocence. His mother and been very instrumental to me, because at the time, like, my mother didn't really know much about law, and he didn't know much about law. So I started trying to educate myself, learning how to read in it, and trying to fight for my freedom. His mother was very instrumental on the outside, because she was one of them people that was like, you know, going forward, like trying to push and find out about law too. So I really appreciate her. Like, she made a lot of different networks for her. Between her and my mother working together, they reached out to them to every innocent project program that existed in New York, and all of them accepted my case because it had so many red flags that was involved. But it came to a situation where they only could go but so far, because the evidence of my case was actually threw out or destroyed, or they couldn't locate it before we actually put in our initial appeal. So when I say locked us away and threw away the key, that's exactly what I mean. It's like they lock you away and they throw away the key for you to get out, so you don't have no way out. So we was trapped in there in a situation where we only could go but so far, because they would say that the things that we needed to actually push forward with our appeals and prove our innocence no longer existed. That they and then just recently, when we did get to the hearing part and we able to bring certain things to life, they try to say it was destroyed in Hurricane Sandy. But back in 1992, it wasn't a Hurricane Sandy. So, you know, we just had a lot of things stacked against us, and I'm just grateful to the point that truth was able to come to light. And you know, I'm in a position where, like, a lot of things are going through me due to the fact that I got my exoneration, and I'm getting the publicity that I'm getting. And you know, I never had a voice before, so these times is like crazy to me, because coming from a situation where you swept under a rug, and it's like you asking everybody for help and no one's there for you. And now I'm in a position where, you know, everybody is knowing what's going on with John Bunn. So that's big to me within itself, you know. And I just want to help a lot of other brothers that's voiceless, that might be going through the same things, because that's a feeling that's undescribable.
Well, I want to say, man, I know how painful it is and how emotional it is for you, man. And I just want to say that I appreciate you, man, And God is good, man. You know, even though we can look at the situation and say it shouldn't happen in the first place, but then when you look and you see that, you know, you were exonerated, the truth did come out, you did continue to fight. You know, I always say that struggle has built more strong people than privilege has ever. And you know, you are a testament to that, brother. Your resilience is commendable, man. Just listening to you and
One thing, not to cut you off, big bro, but you speak on it a lot, like how we stand on integrity and honor. And I think like me being a person like that, like I never met my father. So like going through prison, it was like the stage of going through prison for me was like going through junior high school, because I never made it through junior high school when I was arrested. So the stage of me going through prison was like junior high school, then college. Like for me going from one stage of incarceration to the next stage of incarceration to finally ended up in state prison. And you know, like I learned my life like lessons through them stages, like the principles and how you stay alive and certain things like that. And I think you know, like them same principles and integrity that you talk about today is what led me to actually being paroled, because it was another inmate who tried to rape a female staff at Elmira Correctional Facility in 2005, and I was able to be in the right position with me and another brother that was there by the name of Major. He's my man, good dude, and we was able to stop this guy from actually penetrating after he assaulted and attempted to rape her. And that led to me actually being paroled by the commissioner of parole, and me actually being back out here in society, just by me standing up on what I felt was right morally. And I think like we need to like install them same morals back into the youth right now. What's real morally? Because like, you know, the genocide that's going on in our neighborhoods right now is not morally um, written. It's not based on any type of self pride or self love or even self empowerment. It's just based on like fraudulent how can I say it, like fraudulent pride and egoism. And it's not getting us nowhere. And you know, like brothers like, you know, that's even in other positions, like a lot of these other hip hop guys that's in positions, like they need to like stand up for what's real, because like at the end of the day, all this materialistic shit come and go. Like, I mean, not to mean to curse it on, but it is what it is. Like the
you can say what you
materialistic,
want. You can curse if you want to here, man. Say
yeah,
it.
but you know, the materialistic stuff, you know, it come and go. I think like I was listening to a song while I was in the crib the other day. It was like, and Madonna, it was Madonna, and she like is a materialistic. I'm a materialistic girl living in a materialistic world, and it's like that's really how this is like brainwashing, like all I used to think everything is materialism with them. You know what I'm saying? To the point where they don't even got no self love no more. You know what I mean? It's nothing wrong with being clean. Like we all want to be clean. I mean, that's next. I feel like that's next to godliness, being clean. But the materialistic aspect of it is basically destroying our communities to the point where, you know, it has no integrity involved in it. Like people do anything just to stand out and stick for to have the glory of having the materialistic aspect of it, and don't really care about the moral aspect or principle aspect of what's going on in our communities right now.
And that's right. And I think when you speak about these youth, you know, is that brainwashing that they utilize to continue to mass incarcerate us. Because once you start to believe that materials are everything, then you put your freedom on a line to gain materials, and then they get you in the system. They trump up the system to where they know the system ain't gonna work for you. It's fixed against you. They know that the laws and the rules, and the kangaroo court they put you in, you're not gonna be able to win. So they get you into this revolving door, and then you're trapped in it. You know, so that's why when I stand on these principles, that's what it is for me. It's like understanding that we have a obligation, like we have a duty, like we know what's going on in those prison cells. We know what those officers are doing. We know what these courtrooms are doing. We know how the whole structure is designed to keep us in bondage and keep us locked up in there. We know all of that. So if we come out here and we don't tell the truth, if we allow people to glorify us just because we survived prison, and and we take that glorification and we glorify what prison is, instead of saying, the only thing that's good about prison is that I survived. Anything else, there's nothing in prison. And if we don't have that conversation, and we not standing on that, and we not preaching that, and drilling that, and retraining the minds of these young people, and telling them it's nothing more important than freedom in your life. And that's what they're telling us. They're telling us that these things equate to more than your honor and your principles and your morals and your respect and your integrity. So we know better than that. We've survived throughout things based on only principles and morals. We was in places where it was people that was bigger than us, that was tougher than us, that was all that. But the reason why we was able to survive is because we was morally sound, and we was always authentic. And respect goes a long way. It goes further than anything else somebody try to tell you. So we understand that, man. That's why, once again, I want to commend you. But I want you to, I know this is kind of hard, but I just want, I want people to get the full gist, how exactly were you exonerated?
Well, it was a long process for me. After I was released on parole, I was still considered a convicted murderer. Like we was still we was still convicted. Conviction still stand. I was just released on parole. Um, you know, I was seeing my co-defendant mother every day. Mind you, my co-defendant was considered an adult at the time, even though he was 17 years old. So he was sentenced to double, triple times what I was sentenced to. It's just that I was only sentenced to 9 years to life. They just kept on hitting me at the parole board every 2 years. I came for parole. They would hit me with 2 years for the nature of my crime. So when I came out, my co-defendant was still in there, and I was out here still considered as a convicted murderer. She was still, my co-defendant mother was still pushing hard for him to be released, and we were seeing each other saying like what some of the ways, because I didn't feel free. I was still out here on parole, and she would remind me of that every time I see it. Like, when you're not free, and we would basically speak about these things, and my mother would too. It was actually one day I came in the house and I see my mother, and I was just telling her like, like I feel things getting ready to go either all the way good or all the way bad. And just not long before this happened, my co-defendant had hired a private investigator again to try to reopen our case. And we had met with him, and he was saying things like, oh, he was going to go forward. And I was sitting there and I was talking to him. I was like, my family and both our families have been through so much, and so many promising us so many things. And then they take our money, or lead us down a direction and get our hopes all up high to think that something was really going to happen. And then they leave us out there saying they couldn't do nothing. So I was telling him that I don't want him to actually do this to our family again just because he was receiving money for what he was doing. So he was making all these different promises. Make a long story short, he fell into the same category as everyone else, that he said, I get to this point, but I can't do this and I can't do that. And not long after that, I was contacted by the Exoneration Initiative, who told me that they was investigating my case too. Somehow, some way, I call her my angel. Her name is Frances Roble. She's from the New York Times. She had been investigating Louis Scarcella and many of his other cases. For some reason,
Who is Louis Scarcella?
Louis Scarcella is the rogue detective that actually set up a lot of other individuals, including myself. He framed me in my situation and denied the fact that he had anything to do with it until it was actually proven that he was the lead detective in my case. He denied even acknowledging that he was remembered my situation at all until he seen it on paper. But he is responsible for more than more than half of the recent exonerations that's been coming to the forefront in the last couple of years. Francis Robles, a reporter from New York Times, have been investigating him and his cases. And I guess due to the fact that I was one of the youngest individuals that he actually framed, and my case had so many red flags, she had she had took special interest in my case. She had contacted Mr. My Exoneration Initiative, Mr. Garber, and Mrs. Rebecca Freeman, and told them that she wanted to interview us, that she had some stuff that was concerning um, me and my case. We had some meetings with her. Make a long story short, she had other documentations of found other things out about Louis Scarcella and in my case in particular that could actually open back up my case and get me back in the court. Um, but it was other pushes that actually took involved with that. So she wanted to print an article in the New York Times with me and Rashawn Hargrove, and she interviewed me and my family and him as well. When it actually when an article came out, it opened up a lot of truth that was already being investigated. And at this time, that's when I believe Mr. Thompson, that was coming into office, he was saying that he was putting a highlight on wrongful convictions, and it was going to a special integrity unit that was going to be investigating these wrongful convictions. We attempted to go that way. For some reason, they rejected my case, and they wasn't trying to give us, too much leeway into my file without us going through different measures. However it went, the Exoneration Initiative, along with my co-defendant attorney, they had started to um, file motions on our behalf. My co-defendant had got scheduled in court, and he had started going before Your Honor Judge Simpson. And you know, I tell a lot of people, even though a lot of people have a lot of issues, and you could actually be innocent in your case, it actually takes a courageous judge, to a fearless judge that's going to be willing to make that truth be truth, because it's a lot of situations where they'll look at your case and know that that you right, or whatever the case may be, and turn a blind eye to that, and still have you bonded by a technicality or law, and you could be innocent in your situation. And it takes a judge that's actually willing to um, be fearless, and stand up for what they actually on the panel to do. And
Right.
that's what Judge Simpson did in my case. She stood up, and she vacated O'Shawn's case, and she she allowed me the process to me to go back into hearings with the Exoneration Initiative. And during them hearings, um, I call them boss man and boss lady. That's Glenn Garber and Rebecca Freeman. They did a job that I can't even describe in words, but they proved my innocence. There's no shadow of a doubt to nobody that witnessed it or read my records, know that I'm an innocent man today. And I'm sitting here raising my head hell high as an exonerated innocent man, because they proved that. You understand what I'm saying? And that through my hearings that lasted another, it took me another 10 years to get back in court after I was out here, or maybe another 8.5 years, and then it took another 3 years for me going through my hearings for me to actually get exonerated. So we was going through hearings and hearings and hearings, um, testimonies, and actually me taking a stand, speaking my truth, because when it's happened to me, I never got an opportunity to take the stand and speak for myself. We go through a thing where we got this thing on us where they tell us don't take the stand, or this and that, because we living by this code, or thinking that we ignorant to a lot of different shit. So we thinking that we not supposed to take the stand, or this and that, how it go. We not really understanding what law, what our rights and law really is, even when we going through these procedures that our life is on a line for. And I was happy that I got a chance to actually speak for my life, and speak for myself, and take the stand and speak up, because that wasn't something that was forfeited to me in 1992, when I had an attorney that wasn't in my better half. Like, I didn't have a voice, I didn't have representation. I went in there and with a fixed fight, and I was left vulnerable with an ignorant kid, a young black poor kid, to the system that didn't help me in no kind of way. And there was a lot of people that felt that was supposed to help me.
Well, I want to say, man, this is your story is motivating. Is you know, it's sad at some points because it's tears of joy. I know you shedding tears of joy because you finally able to tell your story. You finally, like you said, you finally able to sit here with your head held high, and you know, and your innocence has been proven beyond a shadow of a doubt. You know, I know that feeling.
I cry big bro, cause that's what my soul say, and I
That's
don't feel
right.
like I got nothing to hide no more. So if
That's
that
right.
make me cleanse my soul, that's how I feel. Ain't
That's
no
right.
man I ever ran into ever could say I'm a sucker, never did nothing to me, let him take nothing from me, could never disarm me. I always been me every step of the way. But this is my soul, it's my spirit. If this is what my spirit let me do, this is what I do, cause I don't got nothing to hide, and I feel like I can stand up for these kids and show them that it's cool to be positive, it's cool to be strong, and ain't nothing weak about expressing your spirit and your soul. If that's what God moves you to do, you know what I mean?
That's
Real
right.
talk.
And that's right, man. That's why I appreciate you, man, because I know you, man. I know, like you said, I know what you stand on. And I know it ain't nothing weak or nothing. I know it's just this energy, man. It's happiness. It's like I'm here. You know what I'm saying? I went through all this shit. I had to sit there. It was times I didn't have no voice. People accused me. They called me names. People thought I was this and that. And now I can stand here unequivocally free as a free man and speak my truth and able to help somebody else and elevate somebody
I
else's.
work, I work, I work on Ragged Island now, man. I'm recently for the first time, and when I go in there, like I came off of that, I cried like a baby, man, because
I
like
do
it's
the same
full
thing.
circle. It's a full circle for me, man. Like I set a standard for myself. I can never put myself with a certain standard where I want to be in a situation where I gotta wiggle my toes and bend over and spread my asshole for another man. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I tell these kids, like, set standards for yourself. To don't want to ever put yourself in a position where you gotta allow another man to tell you, lift open your mouth. Spread, turn around, call, spread your asshole, nigga, wiggle your toe. Ain't nothing to glorify, but that I tell these kids, like, you know what I'm saying? These dudes come home with all these muscles, acting like they this and they that, fronting like this and that, but they not telling you about procedure. You know what I'm saying? When these people come and they want to search us for whatever reason, we got to strip butt ass naked, we got to wiggle our toes, we got to turn around, we got to squat, we got to call, we got to spread our asshole. Like, that shit real. There ain't no fake, ain't nothing. What? That's the lowest integrity any man can want to be into. So once you see yourself at a certain standard, you never want to put yourself back in a certain position because you better than that. And it's a lot of other ways for you to make moves out here. Don't jam yourself up into no box way of thinking like that, where you making yourself vulnerable and gotta be leading to the lowest forms of integrity by any man ever. You know what I'm saying? Like, I never want to feel like that. There's no honor and no shit like that.
That's
But
right.
we'll walk out here and we bump each other, we look at each other, and they ready to kill each other over girl, this, and that. But then when you put yourself in there, you look at the how low of a man, how low you gonna stoop. You know what I'm saying? Just by procedure. This shit is procedure.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? And you're
I said
gonna do it because you don't want to accept, you don't want to face the consequences or whatever coming on. But it's a way of thinking that's in our mind that got us twisted all up, that we think it's some other shit. You know what I mean? Real talk, bro.
I say it all the time, man. I say, you know, people say, yo, I'm doing this. I gotta feed my kids. I gotta do this. And I said, when you doing 20 years, who gonna feed your kid? You know, when you're doing 30 and 40 years, who gonna feed our kids? So it gotta make sense. I get it because I come from it. So I understand, you know, the duality and the reality that you feel, but you gotta at some point we gotta retrain the backwards thinking, man. And you know, so what I want to do now is, you know, I know you can go on for forever, but the way I met you was through Chi and Han. So, you know, Chi is, you know how me and Chi is. Chi is like brother, that's like my brother from another mother. But I just want you to, what I want you to do is just talk about, you know, talk
She
about
she is instrumental. She is instrumental because, you know, she was someone that I met um in Elmira, like right around the time when I was becoming a facilitator. Well, I was actually teaching how to facilitate, and that's, he was speaking about like you and the music thing. Like, we foreseen a lot of the stuff that we actually coming to full circle right now. You know what I'm saying? He always would speak about, like, you know what I'm saying, yo, my man is, yo, super nice, man. You remember him, Mysonne, lefty, gun up in my right palm. That's what I remembered you from. That verse is like from back in them days, you know what I'm saying? That was epic, you know. So he was saying like, yo, you know, we gonna do these things with the music and all that stuff when we come home. And me and him, you know, we had grew a real close relationship. So when I came home and I ran into you a couple of times, I seen you out and I seen you pushing when I came home. I seen you out and like you always move by yourself. I ain't never see you with no crowd of people. I see you in the spot. I see you by yourself. I see how you move. And you know where we come from. It's like yo, you know, we pay homage, but you know, like with me, I always came to yo, boom, boom, yo, cheat my bro, boom, it's all real, something you need me more. But you know, it's like we got a thing with unwritten things. Like we always, you know, just let people be within their own space, but we from like our own distance. I don't know what it be, but it's just like, you know, it be that egoism shit. I'm gonna be honest with you. You know what I'm saying?
It's just that you don't, because a lot of times you just don't know everybody. You don't. For me, that's why I think that I'm a loner, because you until I'm good off energy. So once your energy, I start feeling your energy, like that's what it is. Like the first, because a lot of people, I don't know what their objective is when they approach you. Some people will approach you, yo, I know such and such, and they want to tell you they know such and such because they want you to do this, and I need you to do this for my man, and then it turns into nah. So so for me, that's a process. You know what I'm saying? So every time I seen you, it was always genuine, and you always showed me good love. And then you said I knew cheating. I just think the more I seen you, the more I seen that we was like the same type of people. You solo, or I see you house, or you by yourself, and it's always love. So I think we grew a bond just off that alone.
Like I'm in the process right now where I started my own organization called A Voice for the Unheard. It's a literacy program. It's actually built around the fact that when this happened to me, I couldn't read. I learned how to read while I was in prison. I told myself I started with children's books and a dictionary. It was a process I was going through because I actually wanted to communicate with my mother. I wanted to write her, and I'm saying, tell her how I was feeling because our communication was very poor when I was out here. She was suffering from things she was suffering from, and I was out here, and our communication wasn't right and exact. So I was going through that process. So you know, I know what it is to go through this process and not and don't establish your self-worth and get caught up in the system, because that's what happened to me. I became where I was caught up in a system where I let it become me at a certain point where I was bitten to the point where that jailhouse mentality was a part of who I was. Like I felt like it mattered to a degree, like a status of prison or holding certain things down or thinking it really mattered. And that's because I became institutionalized through my experience. I still have a lot of institutionalized ways I believe that I'm dealing with daily. It's a healing process that never ends. I believe to a person that was actually traumatized and grew up in the prison system. I think I always have institutionalized ways. Um, it's like today I was walking on Ragged Island, and it was a group of kids of me, so I had to wait for them to pass me to go by. And as they was walking, the officers was behind me, and the metal detector was in front of me, and they went through the metal detector. And when I was passing the metal detector, when I didn't walk through the metal detector, I felt awkward. Like, damn, I'm supposed to walk through the metal detector too. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That went through my. I felt a different way. Like by me not walking through the metal detector with them, I felt like, you understand what I'm saying?
It was wrong, like you wasn't. Yeah, I get it. It was because it became a routine for you. It was something that every time you see a metal detector, you already put in your mind that you had to go through it.
That's
'Cause
clear. You got to clear the mag. You know what I'm
that
saying?
was
And we got to clear the mag. And it's certain things that's in store in me that's probably be always. I don't know if I ever. I'm taking it one day at a time. When they ask me how I feel being exonerated, it's a one day at a time thing. Some days be good days, and some days be bad days. I'm going through a process right now. It's up and down, and it's a healing process. And like my whole life been based around me fighting for my freedom, fighting for my exoneration. So now that I got to this point, it was like almost like what I do next, like where you go from here. And I had to like fill my life up with meaning and definition, because you wake up in the morning and it's like starting a newborn baby at 41 years old. It's like what you do from here now, like what you do now, like what I'm saying. And by the grace of God, I've been lucky to be able to, facilitate and do a lot of presentations, and the book drive been successful, and we've been moving around the city, the state. I got one of the best publicists that I think of period, by Rachel Norlinger. She's been pushing me around
She's the best.
everywhere, helping me.
All of our publicists. That's how we
Yes,
got this. That's how we here right now, because she's the best publicist in the business.
she's more than just a publicist. She's like that's family to, you know what I'm saying, too. You know what I mean? And what she does is, you know, she helped establish a meaning in my life, and I always appreciated that. And you know, the source has been big. You know what I mean? I gotta always shout out Lindell McMillan, because like he gave me damn near 50,000 magazines over this past 16 months to help me move around everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Power up and push out good material and push positivity and literacy to these kids. And you know, I've been having you know, a lot of blessed situations. We got a real good support team. I want to thank everybody on the team that's been supportive. Goldie, George, Billy, you know what I'm saying? Haas, everyone that's been pushing with us, that been, you know what I'm saying, Twin, everyone that's been rolling with me, having my back through this process, that's helping me get through each day. You know what I mean? That's my team, that's my family. They know what it is. I call them every day. What I'm gonna do today? What I'm gonna do? They make sure I'm all right. If it ain't nothing, you know what I mean? These are the people that's helping me stay on track. You know, it's like, you know, people like, yo, how you feel to be famous? Like, it ain't no famous for this shit. Like, it's my core people that been around me, same people that's around me. I ain't never going to change on me. It's this about, like, it gives us meaning, it gives us purpose, for a reason to go forward. And I just feel like there's no reason to let up. You know, we don't got too many black leaders. You know what I'm saying? That's why I applaud you. You know what I mean? And you know, we standing for something, you know what I mean? I don't know if we gonna live through the process. We might get killed through the process, bro, because we standing for something that means something. Anybody that do shit like that, you already know how it be going. But at the end of the day, we always gonna be remembered no matter what. And that's the only thing I always wanted to do, like since I was a kid. Like I wanted to be remembered as a stand-up person. Like people always know who I was. And it can't no drug dealer, no one I ever came up with could touch the status that I reach right now. You know what I mean? It ain't got nothing to do with no money or nothing. These kids gonna remember John Bunn, bro. You feel me, bro? Real talk.
And they're gonna remember it the right way, brother. I love you. I appreciate you, man. Yeah, you know, once again, I want to salute you, your honesty, you know, your integrity. Everything that you stand for is what I stand for. So you know, you brother of mine. Anything I ever can do, you here. I'm here for you. You know that, and I want to say thank you for sharing what you shared, man. I know that what you said is going to touch some people. Some young kids might listen to this and might change their lives, and that's what it is, man. Tupac said it best, man. I might not change the world, but I'm gonna say something that sparks the mind of the person that will, man. And I'm sure that just listening to your story and seeing your resilience and seeing your pain and your energy and your love, what you stand for, and how you stand on that, regardless of what, and how you still here after all that you've been through, is going to be life-changing for somebody, because it definitely is for me. So I want to salute you, brother, and I want to say thank you for coming here. I know you got a bunch of stuff to do, but I want to say thank you for taking the time out to tune into this show and just give my listeners and my audience your reality, and I know that they appreciate it, man. So I want to say thank you, beloved. I ain't going to take up too much more of your time, but say the name of your organization again.
A voice for the unheard.
The Voice for the Unheard. We please, if you reach out to them, donate whatever you can do, help with the process. You know, a lot of these kids need to read. People need to learn how to read. He collects books. If you got books, donate books. I know he takes donations for books. So whatever you could do, man, support brothers like this, man, because the people that's doing the negativity, they got a lot of people supporting and pushing their agenda. So when you see brothers like us trying to do something positive and push the culture forward and change the world in a positive aspect, we need the same support. So I appreciate you, John, man.
Appreciate you, big bro. Thank you, man.
Thank you, man. I'm gonna talk to you later.
All right, bet.
Peace.
Peace.
I don't know about y'all, but this is definitely one of the most, most emotional episodes I have, because I know that feeling, man. I sat in a cell for 7 years, and for a crime I didn't commit, and every day I had to fight to maintain my sanity, to maintain my respect, to maintain my dignity, even to this day, you know, I go on my social media and I hear comments and people talking about, oh, you went to jail for this and that, and you robbed this and that, knowing I didn't. You know, as before, it used to make me angry. I used to be like, but I know who I am. You know, I think my character and everything that I stand for speaks to who I am. You know, and that's what I do every day. Every day, I don't allow somebody's negative labeling of me or a situation that happened to me to dictate who I am and what I am. And that's what you see from John Bunn. When you see those are tears of pride. There's no weakness in that. It's tears of pride. It's tears of joy. It's tears of being able to cry. You know, that's what a man is. A man is somebody who has the ability to express his emotions however he wants, and he doesn't care about what you think about them. You know, I think if a lot more of us cried when we felt some type of emotion, it'd be a lot less of us killing each other. So, you know, I want to thank John Bunn. But yeah, man, you just heard the testimony of a young man who was falsely accused of murder and ended up doing 9 to life, which I believe he did 17 years, came home and fought for his freedom for another 10 years, in which he got somebody to exonerate. He was released on parole because he saved a female officer from being raped after she was assaulted by an inmate who tried to assault and then rape her, excuse me. Him and another prisoner, I don't use the word inmate, him and another prisoner saved an officer from being raped. So, you know, that's commendable in itself. And through that process, he was able to be paroled and came out here. You know, that story is just, it just tells you, it's indicative of what's going on in the justice system, man. There's so many wrongfully convicted individuals. You know, unfortunately, everybody is not going to get exonerated like my brother John Bunn did. Some people are going to do a bunch of time in prison, and it's people who are going to sit there and never come home for crimes they didn't commit. You know, and that's just the reality of what we're dealing with. Anyway, I appreciate y'all. Look up to Brother John Bunn. Support him in his efforts. The Voice of the Unheard. Look him up on Instagram. I can't see his Instagram name, but you can look him up. He's on Instagram. He's on Facebook. He's all over. You can Google him. He's one of the freedom fighters that's fighting on the front lines right now. He is the voice of the unheard. He's fighting for the youth. He is one of our modern day heroes, and we appreciate him coming here. What I want to say is this: you can never judge anybody by what they've been through, because you don't even know how they got there. You know, a lot of times we label people as criminals and because they're formerly incarcerated. Everybody that's formerly incarcerated didn't commit a crime. So treat people like you want to be treated. Judge people on the merit of their character and not situations that may have happened to them. Once again, I appreciate y'all. This is For the Culture. We'll see y'all next time. Peace.